Hey guys, what is going on? So the bulk is officially underway. I talked about in my last video, I was going on vacation and I didn't know exactly when I was going to start the bulk, but considering I gained a bunch of water and just a bunch of weight, and probably a good amount of fat too on vacation, I just decided, hey, that's going to be the start. And I guess you could just qualify the start of my vacation as my bulk, whatever you want to say. But I would say, beginning to mid-September is the start of my bulk. And while I was on vacation, I had access to a really good gym. It was actually very similar to the gym that I go to here. So I was able to keep my training probably 75% the way that it otherwise would be, which was really good. And for that reason, my lifts really didn't go down at all. I had some that I really wasn't able to do. Um, so those, either stagnated or went down, or I just prioritized other stuff. But I had some really good progress while I was there as well. So I actually saw like my dips, for example, seemed to take a pretty big jump up. My leg press seemed to as well. And yeah, I think a lot of that can just be attributed to getting a whole bunch of sleep. I was very sleep deprived going into vacation. So I caught up on sleep there. Lack of stress, I talked about it a little bit, but I just had some stress going into vacation. And then obviously traveling in general can be stressful. There's obviously a bunch of like water retention, everything like that that happens from flying and eating a bunch of food and everything like that. But now that I feel like I'm kind of settled back into everything, my lifts so far this week have been really good. Again, not everything is as strong as it was before I left, but a lot of things are significantly stronger than before I left. So kind of a mixed bag, but overall, I would say I progressed pretty well. And I think a lot of that is just due to calories being increased. So as far as like numbers and the progress that I've seen so far in the bulk, which you could say has been going on for like 2 weeks if you really want to, but my dips seem to progress quite well, not only because I gained weight over this time period, even if that was water weight, that's still weight that I have to push because it's my own body weight, but I also progress in terms of like reps. And so now I'm up to doing 100 pounds added on my weighted dips. Now it's repping out like 90 pounds for, pretty good amount. So yeah, we're in the 100-pound club for dips. My body weight is probably um, like 235, I would say. So when I got back from vacation, I was 242, which would have been like a 12-pound increase. And then that wasn't a morning weigh-in, but then the following morning I weighed at 237, and that was literally just one day after being back. So I think a lot of that water retention that happens after traveling and everything like that um, came down. So I would guess I'm probably about 235. So probably gained a few pounds of fat over the past few weeks, which is not horrible. So that's kind of where we're at. Again, not as lean as I otherwise could be, but I'm working on insulin sensitivity and getting my carbs up and doing my walks and everything like that. So I think things are going to be really good from a nutritional standpoint. I'm allowing myself to eat like some cheat meals here and there, but overall, I'm just kind of trying to eat pretty clean, and I think I've been pretty good about that since I got back. But yeah, dips up to 100 pounds for reps now. I only did sets of four because every time I bump up in weight, I drop the reps by a decent amount and basically go from like high proximity to failure with a certain weight, then I up the weight and then I drop the proximity to failure and then I work my way back up. So that's a good way to ramp up intensity as well as get acclimated to a new weight. And you don't need to be going to failure on every set or even one RIR on every set. You can, maybe have a week or two where you get acclimated to weights while you're, pushing some other exercises closer to failure. And then you just kind of rotate them in and out. Drop the intensity on one exercise as you up the weight, keep the intensity high on the other, and then just kind of like go back and forth with that. So yeah, dips 100 pounds. Again, only 3 sets of four, but I think I will be getting that up to a pretty good amount. And yeah, me and my coach did the math at the time. It's 242. Let's say I'm 235 now. As I bulk and I get to like, let's say 240, he was thinking we could probably get to the point where we're repping out 3 plates, which is 135 for reps. Let's say that's 240 body weight. That's 375 for, let's say 3 sets of six or something like that. I think that's a doable number within like a few months. So that would be, if we're comparing that to bench press, which I know a lot of people think, dips can be significantly more. I've never really been that good at dips, and I pause them, I get a deep stretch and everything like that. I think it could be pretty comparable, especially as somebody who has benched like in the past. I benched like 365 for six. So I think if I can get to 375 for six on dips, I think we're probably knocking on the door. So that's a good number. As far as my shoulder pressing, that has really not. That's been the one thing that on vacation, for some reason, I just could not get my shoulder presses to be at where they were before. So we kind of dropped the weight as I got back, and we're going to work our way back up shoulder pressing, see what happens there. Um, a lot of like my bicep work, I've gotten like, really good um, numbers on those for some reason. So I did do biceps here and there, but triceps I did the other day, really strong there. So lots of things that just took a big jump up over the past couple of weeks. So that's really good to see. Um, and then one thing that I'm really excited for is we've been doing leg press, and I think I talked about this in a recent video, but I switched over from hack squat to leg press, and it's a night and day difference. So when I used to do hack squat, I'd do my hack squats, and then later in the workout, I'd do like my leg extensions, and my leg extensions were, totally fine. Now when I do leg press and I do my leg extensions later in the workout, my leg extensions are completely fried. My quads are fried. I cannot do them. So basically what I did today, and I talked this through with my coaches, I'm going to put leg extensions first, and I actually already did this. So leg extensions were really strong. So they were actually totally fine in terms of strength. I just was doing them after my leg press. So this time around, leg extensions first. Then I did my leg press, and I did like four more reps than I did before I left for vacation on the leg press. So that's progressing really well. But that also is a sign that leg press is just destroying my quads in a good way. And so being able to get high quality work with the leg extension and then leg press being really good for the quads is awesome. Another thing, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the video, but I was getting really bad knee pain from hack squats. I was getting a lot of external rotation. And so for me to hit depth, I had to have that external rotation as really mess with my knees. So I either would have to cut depth and or have that external rotation. Here with the leg press, we're doing a narrow stance, basically internal rotation. I'm kind of cueing that. In general, I'm not trying to like knock my knees together, but I'm trying to keep them straight, close stance. And I'm getting maximum knee bend, no knee pain. It's awesome. So legs are a huge, huge opportunity for growth for me. I think genetically I have pretty good legs, and not just quads, but just like entire lower body, calves, glutes, hamstrings. I think I just have way more growth potential for legs, and I've had bigger legs in the past. So for me to feel comfortable training quads and pushing them again while I'm bulking and pushing up the carbs and everything, I think I'm going to get a ton of muscle growth over the next several months on this bulk. So that's really exciting. And I think I'm going to push my body weight up a whole bunch just from getting my quad training in order. And then I really just need to be able to be consistent with RDLs. I just, for whatever reason, RDLs have been a tough thing for me to progress. I think getting back into, being consistent with them, calorie surplus, um, not swapping out certain things, and just again, vacations. I was not doing RDLs, and I would bring my RDLs up and they drop, and I have to bring them up again. I just want to be really dialed in with RDLs and just hinges in general. If we do find that there's like another hinge that I can incorporate into the routine, build that posterior chain up. I think that's something that I really have not been super consistent about. So that's another really big area of opportunity. And then the spinal erectors as well are paired into that posterior chain overall with hinges. So yeah, I think they've been going really good so far on the bulk, just, as expected, adding calories in, reducing fatigue from the vacation, everything like that. But I think this is really the time where, push up the calories just slowly over time, bring up the carbs, and just get really dialed in with training. I don't have any trips planned, so none of that. And even if I do travel, I'm going to be intentional about not, like being able to continue training in a gym. And I think this time around, having access to a really good gym literally saved me like months of progress. So I think that is a priority next time if, I do travel in the near future. But anyway, I think this bulk is going to be absolutely insane. And that's why I love updating. I want to keep these updates coming. I think I'm hitting new levels of strength in some areas, and I think it's going to be a really exciting bulk for me. And I hope you guys, tag along. If you guys have any, training video requests or anything you want me to talk about, I'm getting really into it again, which is exciting. So just excited to keep you guys updated and talk about anything really. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I'll keep you updated and I'll talk to you soon.